is it? Here. Oh, where is it? Where is it? Come on. I don't have time for this. Don't have time. Oh, come on. Oh. No.
Did you find it?
No.
Well, have you tried prayer?
The prayer room. Wonder what I can find in here. Well, looky there.
Welcome back. Today we continue the continuing journey of St. George and the Dragon and the Quest for the Holy Grail by Edward Hayes. Just a reminder of where we left off. Last week was a very short lesson, and George has created his hermitage. He is in his garage hermitage, and he records a couple of entries in his journal, and he's kind of wondering if the dragon's going to come. And as I told you last week, that the dragon was about to arrive. So let us continue on another journey in this quest. This is on Saturday, March 22nd, and this entry is 11 a.m. I was shocked and delighted by the appearance of a visitor at my door. It was the dragon. He asked if he could come in, which he did without waiting for a reply. Well, the shed is small. He accompanied himself to it rather well. With a smile that exposed all of his white, pointed teeth, he said, "So you're having second thoughts about going on a quest?" Well, George, that's not at all uncommon. Leaving a comfortable life and familiar habits isn't an easy decision to make. The reality of taking up a quest always leads to serious questions. But let them all go for a moment, and let me tell you a story about some others who had a choice to make. Once upon a time, there was a great prison. Its tall, great walls of massive concrete, its numerous guard towers, and complete absence of windows only confirmed the fact that it was indeed a maximum security prison. The prison had an unsoiled reputation, for no prisoner had ever escaped alive. But nothing challenges the human spirit like the impossible, and a small gang of prisoners had been working for a long time to dig an escape tunnel under the prison walls. The idea was ingenious. The entrance to the tunnel was under the bathtub in the shower room, and the dirt could be removed one small pail at a time and washed down the shower drains. The gang called themselves the Escape Committee, and their leader was a man named Jack. His conviction that no prison is escape-proof, his electric sense of hope and promise, and his belief in the impossible had fired the little gang with enthusiasm. They labored for months on their secret tunnel until Jack announced that, by his calculations, they were beyond the walls. On the day for the escape, they gathered at the entrance of the dark and narrow tunnel. Jack could see the fear in their eyes. "I'll go first. Wait here, and if I find any trouble, I'll come back to warn you. And if I'm not back in 3 hours, you know it's safe to follow me." Then turning to a muscular, tough-looking member of the gang, Jack said, "And you, Rocky, are the new leader of the escape committee. Make sure that everyone gets out." And with a nod, Jack disappeared down the dark tunnel. They waited as they had been told. When Jack did not return, they began preparations for their escape, jubilant with excitement. Rocky did a test run of the escape tunnel. When he found it safe, he returned to the entrance. With his strong arms, he slid aside the bathtub and began to climb out of the hole into a circle of armed guards. "Get out of there," snapped the chief warden. "You fools, don't you know this is an escape-proof prison? No one gets out of here." As they handcuffed him, Rocky said, "Jack escaped? He got away?" "I'll have you know," replied the warden, "that we have guarded the path of this stupid tunnel for weeks, and I guarantee you that no one has come out the other end. Now follow me." The warden and the guards led Rocky out of the shower room and up to the top floor of the prison to the warden's office and the living quarters. The warden stood at his desk and fingered through a manila file. "Number 353549, Rocky. I believe they call you in the cell blocks. I find your behavior foolish. You're lucky you're alive. We must not allow this attempted escape to go unpunished, for that would set a bad example. Yet I have something I want to show you." The warden walked over to a set of large windows on one wall and drew back the heavy green drapes. "Come here and look below." Rocky saw the prison yard filled with prisoners dressed in the same gray uniforms, staring lifelessly at the ground. The warden said, "Take a good look at them. Even if you and your gang did escape, what about all these poor creatures? They have no hope, nothing to dream about. What about them, number 353549? And what's outside these walls? Who knows if there's more freedom than both prisoners and guards have in here? This prison needs something unique, and you, number 353549, are just the person with the power to create it. What this prison needs is an official escape committee." Dumbfounded, Rocky stared at the warden. At that moment, a prison guard wheeled in a dinner cart loaded with fine wines, heaping plates of roast beef and other rich food. He was followed by another guard who rolled in a beautifully set table for two, complete with lighted candles. "Come," said the warden. "We can talk about it over dinner. I'm starved." And so, night after night, Rocky was taken from his cell in solitary confinement to have dinner with the warden. The other prisoners, believing he was being taken for torture, shuddered as he was marched past their cells. Rocky slowly grew to understand the plan the warden proposed. Hope could come to those hopeless ones sentenced to life in prison. All they needed was an escape committee. Then they could dream of freedom outside the gray walls of the prison. So Rocky organized countless committees, all under the leadership of the Escape Committee. At their weekly meetings, plans were drawn up for the Great Escape. The story of Jack was told and retold, saying that he had escaped to freedom. The symbol of the Escape Committee was an upright shovel with the sun behind it. It was a secret sign, yet everyone possessed one. Soon, even some of the guards became members. Like the rising of the sun, hope gradually began to appear in the prison. Singing, once never heard within its walls, became common. Flower gardens appeared in the prison yard, and the entire environment began to change. Once, when the warden was sick with the flu for a week, he entrusted the ongoing maintenance of the prison to his friend Rocky, who had a wonderful organizational skill. In fact, the warden was able to take frequent vacations from his office, confident that Rocky would keep everything in order. Now, even though the main work of the Escape Committee and its vast networks of subcommittees was escape, no one ever escaped. Even when those who were initiated into this secret organization were taken to the shower room and shown the tunnel, no one ever attempted to use it. In fact, once or twice when someone actually suggested using it, the Escape Committee denounced them. They were isolated from all social contact with the other prisoners by a most painful form of solitary confinement. They were not placed in some dark cell, but were allowed to remain as part of the population of the prison. However, they were never spoken to, touched, or looked at. So great was the effect of this punishment that after a few attempts, no one even raised the question of escaping. The warden's ingenious plan made life inside the prison better for everyone. He and the guards did not have to worry about anyone escaping. Life and work inside the prison went on without trouble. The leaders of the Escape Committee were given special cells and had their own excellent dining room. They were also shown respect by both guards and fellow prisoners. And the prisoners, once clouded by despair, now lived with a sense of hope and promise. Their meager imprisoned lives now had meaning. The arrangement was, shall we say, perfect. The story ends as all good stories end. They lived happily ever after. We sat in silence for a moment after he had finished the story. Then I began by saying, "That doesn't sound like a happy ending to me. They were all still in prison." "Yes, George, but how many people do you know who settle for something less than freedom? How many content themselves for a few luxuries and the sense of being part of a group? But I can see in your face that despite your doubts, you are not satisfied with life as it has been. You are worried that you can't lose yourself in the pursuits that other people find so rewarding." I nodded in agreement. Odd that the dragon knew even my most private thoughts. "If you have time to listen," he continued, "I have another story to tell you about a man who also faced a choice. Sit back, then close your eyes and let the magic theater inside your head begin as I tell you about Joe Moss." And with that, I'm going to end there. Obviously, next week we will get in and talk about Joe Moss, and it is a lengthy story. Look at that. I changed clothes. Well, actually, I decided to re-record the interpretation of this lesson on St. George and the Dragon. Maybe it had something to do with the fact that my week is all changed. You see, typically what I do is I record this message on Monday, and then on Tuesday I edit it so that on by Wednesday that I can upload it so that you can watch it. But this week is all different. I recorded the lesson on Sunday because on Monday my wife and I went to Fort Collins to see a podiatrist. I've been having some foot issues, and now I'm re-recording this on Tuesday, getting ready to edit this so that you can watch this on Wednesday. So as I was traveling down to Fort Collins yesterday, I kept thinking to myself, I just didn't like how I interpreted that lesson. Didn't like the prayer. It just was not going well at all. And I just kept stewing on it and kept thinking about it. And I think it was this issue. Is the story, as wonderful as it is so full of hope. It's too easy. And I think maybe that's George's issue there. You know, I'm like everybody. I am always looking for the easy button. I'm looking for it in my job. I'm looking for that easy sermon that just rolls off. I'm looking for that easy prayer. I'm looking for those easy way to be a parent, easy ways. But oh my gosh, easy just does not happen. I actually even came up with a list on my way down that I want to tell you about some things that we kind of look for, the easy way, but it just doesn't happen. If you are a Star Trek fan, or if you liked House or some kind of science fiction, and I was thinking about this when it comes to the vaccine for COVID-19, you know, we are in this pandemic now 250 plus days. And what do we expect? We expect on Star Trek that when the crew gets a virus, and then the doctor works really hard, and he gets kind of that aha instance, and he vaccinates everyone, and by the time the episode is done, after 50 minutes, everyone's vaccinated. I mean, where can we get that? Well, isn't that easy? That's what we're looking for. Not 250 days plus. No, we're looking for a 50-minute vaccine. New Year's resolutions. How many of us that when we get to coming up to January, we're thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to lose weight, we're going to change our finances, we're going to spend more time in prayer, we're going to read the Bible, we're going to change our relationship habits, we're going to do this and that, and then we get into that third week, and then that fourth week, and that fifth week into the new year, and it just gets so hard, and we're looking for that easy button. Or Dave Ramsey. I love Dave Ramsey, and I love the work that he does in his ministry, because one of the things that he often says is that we sell crock pots, not microwaves. Isn't that so true? We are looking for that microwave ministry. I have seen people come into the Dave Ramsey program and they want to change their finances around instantly. I still remember that when I first was doing Dave Ramsey, it used to be a 91-day program, because Dave Ramsey said it takes 91 days to change one's behavior. Take my foot. I was going down there expecting something easy. Give me some cream, maybe he was going to tell me a different way to walk and things would be so much better. Instead, I have to wear a boot that feels like a ski boot for 10 weeks. I have to go down to Fort Collins about every 2 weeks and get some injections. It's not going to be an easy process. In fact, today, it's kind of uncomfortable wearing this ski boot around. I'm looking for the easy button. Now, that's nothing to go away from the hope of this lesson. Again, it is a wonderful lesson, and I truly, truly loved it. But I think that says something about our journey, because we're always looking for something to happen quick. But on the journey, when things take place, sometimes it takes a while. We have to learn certain things. And I think that's what the dragon is trying to teach George here. And George kind of picks up on that, is like, okay, this is just kind of like an easy lesson, sure, full of hope. But for change, true change to take place, or if we're trying to find something we're looking for, we've got to go. We have to trek out for a quest to be able to find that. And that truly, I believe, is the lesson for all of us. Let us pray. Dear Lord, I want to thank you for Redos, for allowing me to re-record this lesson. I want to thank you for those moments when things don't happen quick. And we have learned things over time. Maybe it was something that we watched just the process of our marriage, or a relationship with a child, or with a friendship, or even the relationship with you that just took time. And where we are now is so much more mature than where we were way back then. Because life is a journey and it takes a while. I just ask that you continue to remind us of these great stories of hope, and that when we need to hear them, that we can hear these stories again about ways that it continues to green things up around us, especially when maybe there's a dark cloud just hanging over us. But remind us that as we're in this search, as we're in this journey, as we're on this quest, as we're trying to find something that we're looking for, that it's going to take time. Just like the grief process, just like the healing process for the body, just like the virus, just like learning those lifelong lessons of financial responsibility, just like those lessons of spiritual maturity. It takes time. And we look forward to hearing that lesson here next week. For all of these lessons, we lift them up to you. Amen. Again, thank you very much for being part of this re-recording. And I so look forward to next week, because I think as we get to that next story that George reads, that the dragon reads to St. George, it's going to make a little bit more sense and also help us on this journey. So until next week, goodbye.